Hello everyone, welcome to the video on angina pectoris. Angina means to strangulate or to press. Pectoris is derived from the word pectus, which means chest. Literally, angina pectoris means chest pain. Now, why this condition occurs is when there is reduced blood flow to the heart, that results in a condition known as ischemia. This is known as ischemic heart disease. When blood flow is reduced, oxygen availability also reduces. That gives a kind of pain which is known as chest pain. So the underlying disease for this angina pectoris is ischemic heart disease, and the symptom is chest pain. So what happens in this condition is reduced blood flow is what results in ischemia that causes a chest pain. So in this video I am going to explain about the treatment of angina pectoris. This is my YouTube channel. Just type in my name in YouTube, you will get the channel details. If you like the video content, do subscribe and share. Let's get into the topic. Now, the coronary artery disease. Understand this one. So, coronary artery is the artery which supplies blood to the heart. These is known as coronary blood vessels. Understand the concept. Heart is the one which supplies blood to each and every part of the body. But heart also requires blood supply. That is possible with a special arteries known as coronary arteries. Now, coronary artery disease means the functioning of these arteries is not proper. And that if the functioning is not proper, blood supply to the heart is reduced, and that condition results in myocardial ischemia. See, emia means blood, isch means moving away. That means reduced blood supply to myocardial tissue is what is known as myocardial ischemia. So in this condition, myocardium is not getting sufficient blood supply, and that is characterized by angina pectoris. A pain occurs. Now there are certain types of angina pectoris are there. One type is known as vasospastic disease. Vaso means blood vessel, spasm means contraction. Excuse me. This is also known as Prinzmetal angina. Now in this condition, a transient vasoconstriction of coronary artery occurs. When coronary artery is contracted, what happens? Blood supply to the heart is reduced. That results in transient ischemia. And this attack occurs in rest, and it occurs in clusters. Clusters means for some point of time pain will be there, then relief will be there, again the pain will be there. So this type is known as vasospastic disease. Now another type is related to atherosclerotic disease. Atherosclerosis means hardening of blood vessel. When this occurs to coronary blood vessels, that narrows the blood vessel, and blood supply to heart again is reduced. This is because of atherosclerotic plaque. Atherosclerotic plaque means the blood vessel will have certain lipid accumulation, and that reduces blood flow. Now this results in stable angina, unstable angina, and myocardial infarction. Understand this word. The reason why it is called a stable angina is the lipid accumulation occurs stably over the period of time, and reduced blood supply will be there. Now the next one, unstable angina, is because of platelets. Now what platelets has to do with this one? When this lipid accumulation occurs and when the blood vessel rupture occurs, the platelets will come to cover this ruptured place. And what is happening with this one? Further decrease of blood supply is reduced. This may 100% block that coronary artery, and that is called as unstable. So suddenly at any point of time the platelet accumulation occurs, hence it is known as unstable. Now the last one, which is more serious one, is called as myocardial infarction. Now look at them. What happens in myocardial infarction is, see, myocardial infarction is popularly known as heart attack. Imagine when a blood vessel is 100% blocked. What happens? All this tissue do not get enough blood supply, and that tissue undergoes infarction. Infarction means when blood supply is not there, the muscle cell death occurs, and that is what causes heart attack. So these are all the major types of angina. One is vasospastic, and the one is stable, unstable, and the final one is myocardial infarction. Now you need to understand why this condition occurs. See, always there is higher amounts of oxygen demand to the heart, because heart gives all the time, heart gives contractions and heart rate is there. To provide that contractions and heart rate, heart needs highest amount of oxygen, by which ATP is obtained, and using that ATP heart contracts. So always that oxygen demand must be equal to oxygen supply. That is what is known as a balance. When this balance is not there, or when oxygen demand is more than oxygen supply, you get this condition called as ischemia, ischemic heart disease. And this is what results in angina pectoris or chest pain. Now, understand the remaining things. So, our job is to reduce the oxygen demand or to increase oxygen supply. How can we increase oxygen supply? By increasing coronary blood flow, or to the regions of the heart increasing blood flow. This is possible by using vasodilators and calcium channel blockers. Or in certain cases, if lipid accumulation is there, to control that, statins and antithrombotics should be used. The other aspect, reducing oxygen demand. See, when you reduce heart rate, when you reduce cardiac contractility, when we reduce preload and afterload, all of them will reduce oxygen demand and the balance is restored. And this is possible by using drugs like beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, organic nitrates and calcium channel blockers. So organic nitrates, calcium channel blockers will be reducing preload and afterload. Beta blockers will prominently reduce heart rate and contractility. If you remember, beta agonist has got two actions, positive inotropy, positive chronotropy. What do you mean by inotropy? Increase in contractility of the heart. Chronotropy, increase in heart rate. Both of them are under the control of beta receptors. When you block these receptors, contraction reduces, heart rate reduces. Let us see the treatment and the drugs. Now, the prominent group is known as organic nitrates. In this group, the important drugs are isosorbate dinitrate, isosorbate mononitrate, nitroglycerin. Nitroglycerin is also known as glyceryl trinitrate. Glyceryl trinitrate. Now, all these drugs, they enhance the release of nitric oxide. What is the job of this nitric oxide is? See, in the human body, acetylcholine, bradykinin, 5-hydroxytryptamine also bind with the receptors and activate an enzyme called as nitric oxide synthase. When this enzyme is activated, nitric oxide is produced from L-arginine. Arginine is converted to citrulline and it releases nitric oxide. The released nitric oxide activates guanyl cyclase enzyme, which enhances the amount of cyclic GMP, which causes relaxation of smooth muscle cell. That is nothing but vasodilation. So all these internal mediators and neurotransmitters will cause relaxation by this mechanism. Similarly, when these drugs are taken, they also enhance nitric oxide release, and the released nitric oxide will in similar manner increases cyclic GMP and causes relaxation. This is what is the mechanism of action of all organic nitrates. Now, see, administered nitrates, they increase nitrates and release nitric oxide, enhances cyclic GMP. Cyclic GMP, how it causes vasodilation is, it causes dephosphorylation of myosin light chain. If myosin is phosphorylated, then contraction occurs. If it is dephosphorylated, it results in relaxation. Now, so all these nitrates are prodrugs and they release nitric oxide. They cause venodilation. Understand this one. Organic nitrates has got more specificity towards veins rather than arteries. They reduce preload, reduce cardiac workload, reduce oxygen requirement. They also reduce infraction. Prominent drugs, nitroglycerin, which is available as sublingual, transdermal and IV formulation. Isosorbate is available in oral formulation also. Now, the major side effects are flushing, headache and orthostatic hypotension. When blood vessel is dilated, what happens? The effects are flushing, headache and orthostatic hypotension. Now, the other ones are reflex tachycardia and fluid retention. The moment blood vessel is dilated, blood pressure comes down. So, body will try to restore it by doing reflex tachycardia and fluid retention. Most of the antihypertensive drugs has got these two common side effects. Now, what are the cautions and contraindications? Tachyphylaxis with repeated use. That means immediate emergence of tolerance. Rapid emergence of tolerance is known as tachyphylaxis. Now, it may cause cardiovascular toxicity with sildenafil citrate. Understand? Sildenafil citrate is phosphodiesterase enzyme inhibitor, which also causes prominent vasodilation. When it is combined with organic nitrates, it results in profound vasodilation. And this is a dangerous contraindication. So these two drugs should not be used together. So this is about organic nitrates. The next class is calcium channel blockers. There are calcium channel blocks. How do they act? They bind and inhibit voltage dependent L-type calcium channels. When the channel is inhibited, calcium entry into the heart is reduced. When calcium is not there, contraction is reduced, heart rate is reduced. So oxygen demand on the heart is reduced. There are two major classes are there, dihydropyridines and non-dihydropyridines. Dihydropyridines, all of them end with dipines, amlodipine, nicardipine, nifedipine. All these dihydropyridines are selective towards blood vessels. The other groups, non-dihydropyridines like verapamil, diltiazem, they are cardioselective. Understand these words, cardioselective and vasoselective. So dihydropyridines selectively dilates blood vessels, whereas verapamil and diltiazem selectively act on cardiac pacemaker cells. Now the drugs, amlodipine, felodipine, all dipines, as I told you, belongs to dihydropyridines. Diltiazem, verapamil are cardioselective drugs. These drugs are widely used to treat angina pectoris, hypertension and arrhythmias. Understand this one. See, to treat arrhythmias, only verapamil and diltiazem are used because they are cardioselective. So this is what we have seen. They block calcium channels, and dihydropyridines causes vasodilation, and the other two drugs are related to heart function. So they are used to treat hypertension. Prinzmetal angina is nothing but vasospastic angina. Vasospasm is because of increased calcium levels. So calcium channel blockers are very effective drugs which will inhibit vasospasm. Now Raynaud's syndrome also causes extremities vasoconstriction. Hands and legs blood vessels will get contracted. To treat that also calcium channel blockers are used. So the same things are explained here, all of them. So verapamil, diltiazem are kind of cardioselective, whereas dipines are blood vessel selective. Now uses, we have seen hypertension, angina, arrhythmia, only these two cardioselective drugs. Now side effects, as I told you, reflex tachycardia is common side effect for all antihypertensive drugs. Now gingival hyperplasia is observed with dihydropyridines, constipation is observed with verapamil. So this is about calcium channel blockers. Now beta blockers we have seen multiple times. They block beta receptors and reduce inotropic effect and reduce chronotropic effect. Both of them will reduce oxygen demand on the heart. Now the drugs are atenolol, bisoprolol, carvedilol, metoprolol, nadolol, nebivolol, many other drugs are there. They are prominently used to treat angina pectoris, heart failure, hypertension, and wide range of arrhythmias can also be treated. So these are all the main course of drugs which are used to treat angina pectoris. Now there are some other miscellaneous drugs are there. Now ivabradine reduces pacemaker potential. When pacemaker cell potential is reduced, heart rate is reduced. The next one, ranolazine inhibits late inward current sodium channels in the heart. When sodium channel is reduced, depolarization is reduced and heart rate is reduced. Now nicorandil releases nitric oxide, causes vasodilation. They also opens potassium channel, hyperpolarization. Hyperpolarization also reduces heart rate. Now the next one, trimetazidine inhibits beta oxidation of heart. Beta oxidation is inhibited. This is the one of the way by which ATP is produced. When beta oxidation is inhibited, oxygen consumption is reduced, so oxygen demand is reduced. This is how these drugs will act. So these are all the miscellaneous drugs. So this is the treatment of angina pectoris. Thank you for watching this video. If you like the video content, do subscribe and share.